chance of winning, and I think that, he'll definitely come through.
Yeah, I think Carpenter could win, and he would win in any other year, but he has Wayne right next to him. He has more wins on the same team, so that looks bad for him. Also, the Central voters, they're going to split between the two, and they're not going to get a real strong consensus. There's not going to be anyone the area that really gives them a real strong vote. Because you got to remember, it's the writers that cover baseball every day that are voting for the NL Cy Young. So it's them who decides. They don't care if Lincecum's already won. They want the best pitcher to keep winning and give him a legacy. And so with the numbers that he had this year, the dominant strikeouts, I think he takes it.
I agree with you.
Yeah, well, I think it's going to probably go to Lincecum. 150 strikeouts, the 15-plus wins, and the ERA of 2.5. I'm going to give the point to Jeff, and let's go on to our next topic. The NBA preseason is underway with a lot of new faces and new places. In your opinion, what was the biggest offseason move? Let's start with you again, Jeff.
I really like the Vince Carter trade to Orlando. They didn't have to give up too much. They gave up Courtney Lee, who looked great in the postseason, but that's what gave them the value to make that trade. They also got Ryan Anderson in addition. They lost, really nobody in the offseason. They got to go 10 games without Rashard Lewis for his HGH or whatever it was that he failed for, testosterone, I think. But, that's just going to give more of an opportunity for Ryan Anderson, Michael Petras to get in there. And they added a lot of great depth. They brought in Brandon Bass from Dallas. He's a real strong player. He's a physical beast inside, real underrated. And him next to Dwight Howard, they're going to be two serious rebounding combinations. And I think beat in the Eastern Conference and in the NBA.
I think that, the West, I think the power is moving over to the Eastern Conference, and I think that I think a big move is having Shaquille O'Neal move over to the Cavaliers. I mean, you have him and you have LeBron James, two major powerhouses in the NBA. Shaquille had, last year 17.8 points per game and, 8 rebounds and a couple blocks. And I think that with LeBron, they both know what they're doing. They both know basketball really well, and I think that they can definitely they'll just pull, they'll push their way through.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at Shaq, he had a lot more points, but that's in the run and gun system that they were running in Phoenix. Also, a lot of his in-shapeness that happened and his recovery really was accredited to the Phoenix trainers and the training staff that was really working with him nonstop. So I don't think he's going to have the same kind of production in Cleveland. He's just getting older. He's going to bring some more charisma to the team, but that team's already real team unity. When you look at their team, they have LeBron James and what? They have Shaq, who's an aging star. That's it. You look at Orlando, they have 3 legitimate scorers at all times on the court, no question. And the Eastern Conference, like you said, is getting stronger. It's becoming a stronger conference. It's got the young superstars, the quicker teams, and LeBron has to carry that team on his back everywhere he goes. And I don't think he can do it. He wasn't able to do it yet. So, adding Shaq, what's that going to do?
I mean, I think it just adds veteran. It's nice to have someone else there. You did say LeBron is carrying the team. It is nice to have someone else helping to pull the weight. I mean, Shaq, is getting old and he might not be as good. He not only bringing a lot of charisma, but I think his knowledge of the game and his just being a veteran will help the team at least, gain confidence at least, because he knows what he's doing and he knows what he's talking about.
I got to go with Julie on this one. I think Shaq, the witness protection, he's got Mo Williams also. You forgot about Mo Williams. Cleveland, I think they're going to be all right. So I'm going to give the point to Julia. And let's go on to our last topic. Last Saturday, the U.S. soccer team punched their ticket to the 2010 FIFA World Cup in South Africa. In your opinion, how far will they make it? Jeff?
I think they'll make it out of the pool. They started the pool of 4 where you got to try and play round robin through the team, and they'll definitely make it out of there. The top 10 almost in the country now, or in the world. They've really stepped it up in the last 10 years. They're a completely different team, and they proved that they can beat the top teams in the world. Last year in the Confederations Cup, they beat Spain, who was the #1 team in the world, almost beat Brazil right after that. It was the first time they'd ever been to a final in any FIFA competition. So they've finally taken the next step. They've stepped it up. They could win it. I mean, it's just when they end up doing it. I don't think they'll win it yet. I think they have a lot more growing and a lot more maturity, and the World Cup is a much bigger stage than the Confederation Cup. But they have the talent and they have the confidence.
Yeah, I definitely agree that they have the talent. I don't think they're going to make it very far. I mean, they have, there's Brazil and there's, they have a lot of people to worry about, and They have, a dude who's a really good player, but I think one of their best players is Landon Donovan, who plays for the Galaxy. But he's kind of old. I feel like they have confidence. I don't think they have it all together though yet. So I think they'll crack under the pressure.
Yeah, they could crack under the pressure, but I think they've really changed. They have a really strong keeper in Tim Howard. They just lost Charlie Davies in a very serious injury in a car accident, but World Cup isn't for another year. I think he'll be back. He's really quick on the front line. He's a good player. He plays in Europe. He knows what he's doing out there. And I think, if you draw a team like Brazil in your first pool and another strong team, you definitely could get eliminated early because that would be, not good. But I think the way they do it, you're probably not going to see but one other team that's really strong, and so you should be able to get out of the first play. And it's all about the matchups they get. If you draw a team that you can beat, like Spain, that you have confidence in beating, then you got a chance. But if you get bad matchups, you can get knocked out real early.
Yeah, I don't know. The U.S. has pretty low wins when they're at away games. So, obviously they're not going to be playing in the United States, so that might definitely hurt them a little. And it is hard. And if you have a player like Davies who's out and then he comes back in, I know he's been playing with them, but it's kind of hard to get in the game when they've already been practicing a lot and everything.
Yeah, hopefully he can come back before then and get some time in and get used to him. And the real thing that I like is, they can. They've played in South Africa for the Confederation Cup, so they can do it here too.
I have to agree with Jeff on this one, so I'm going to give him the point. I think this is a different USA soccer team. So point goes to Jeff. All right, guys, this week's winner is Jeff. That's the edition of Face Off. Let's toss it back to Michelle and Tom in the studio.
Thanks, Nero. Well, Coug fans, it's now time to mark your calendars. Even though the Cougar football team is off this weekend, there's still going to be some exciting events going on in the sporting world. Let's start with the women's volleyball team. They have a homestand this weekend versus USC and UCLA. The Cougs take on USC Friday night and UCLA on Saturday. Both matches are set to start at 7 p.m.
And immediately following the USC volleyball match, the Cougars' men's and women's basketball teams officially kick off their 2009-2010 seasons. The teams will participate in the Midnight Madness festivities starting at approximately 9:30 p.m. in Bowler Gym.
The women's soccer team is headed to the desert this weekend to take on Arizona State and Arizona. The Cougars kick off against ASU at 7 p.m. on Friday and take on the Wildcats at Arizona at 1 p.m. on Sunday. Coug fans can view live stats and audio for both matches at www.wsucougars.com.
And finally, in the national spotlight, the Major League Baseball playoffs are in full swing with the start of the League Championship Series tonight when the LA Dodgers take on the Philadelphia Phillies for the NL crown. The AL crown will be fought between the New York Yankees and the LA Angels starting on Friday night. Both series will be played every day. Check your local listings for game times. And that's it for today's episode of ITL.
Have a good one.